All right, we're going to try this a second time. I am so sorry. I'm not sure if my microphone wasn't picking anything up, but according to the streaming devices and stuff that I use, no sound was getting through. So, best to start over and hope things go a little better this time. It looks like things are. Thank you so much for finding me a second time, sticking around so long and waiting for this to begin. Now, before I get started, this is Outlander Season 7 trailer, the second one. Spoilers will be discussed. This is a breakdown, image by image. I've got some quotes to go over as well. And hopefully, together, we can glean some details, some clues of what we're going to see, possibly compare a bit from what was written as to what it looks like they're going to portray on screen for us. And since I've got some people here, I'm going to just get started. Now, there were quite a few images in the new trailer that we've already seen, and I'm not really going to go nuts trying to break those down because we already know them. And for example, here we go. Now, we've already seen the funeral images, these scenes of them riding across the Declaration, Soldier playing, Sam, and then Claire. We do know now for sure, fairly sure, that that's going to be Ian and Rachel. Yeah, so we've already seen a good portion of these images. I threw in some of the marital bliss images in the end because we don't really need to have a big discussion about that. Jamie and Claire, they're in love, so they have moments together. This is not news, and it's definitely not something we really need to have a big discussion about. I am going to get rid of that since we are on. And in case you don't know where you are, this is where we are. This is literally my corner in space. This is pretty much where I am when I'm watching, when I'm creating, when I'm writing. This is my little space. Little Outlander. I keep forgetting him backwards. Outlander there. Lots of Star Wars, Star Trek. So this is my actual literal corner, in case you're wondering where that name came from. All right, now to the review, the breakdown really. So image by image, and there are quite a few. Let's get started with little Jamie and Claire. The first images we see are them hugging, looking at each other. Pretty much your normal, this is who the story is about kind of images. Not a whole lot to be gleaned from those. Claire's hair, oh, sorry about that. I always like to point out Claire's hair is much longer, especially in this one. It's down past her shoulder, so obviously some time has passed before we're seeing this. So possibly towards the end of the season, assuming that they aren't bouncing back and forth with flashbacks, as Outlander tends to do. But we can assume that some of these images that we're seeing now weren't in the first trailer because they simply didn't have all the filming finished, the editing, and this way we get a little bit more of a sneak peek as to what's going to be happening later in the season. And there's our Jamie, looking pretty much the same, really. A little bit maybe irritated, concerned, which who wouldn't be considering all of the circumstances to come. Now, what I already said, I like the environmental action scenes to kind of give you an idea of what's happening. And, well, riding through water isn't exactly a big clue, but we are fairly sure that that would be Jamie because his horse is white, if I recall. I will say real quick hi to the people who have joined me. Isabel, hello. Uh, Right on. And Linda Grace, always happy to see you again. But don't worry, you didn't miss much. I had technical difficulties. I'm literally just getting started. All right. And now what do we have next? Good old stars. Now we've got a battlefield here. At least that's what it looks like to me. It looks like a downed soldier, smoke and some roughage stuff happening in the background. I cannot tell for sure if that is equipment or people, but there's definitely scattered stuff throughout the background there. Again, not unexpected considering what we know is to come. And another environmental image, which I do love these because since it is filmed in Scotland, really we're supposed to be seeing North Carolina or yeah. West Virginia, wherever they happen to be during this part of the story, quite frankly. But it's always nice to see that we're actually looking at a little bit of Scotland here. Kind of a cheat. Now, of course, the big story, the thing that brought Brianna back, it's happening. It's happening this season for sure. And I tend to believe this is absolutely the big house burning because you can see the wallpaper on the outside edges of the image. And kind of brings a tear to your heart, especially with the next one being Jamie looking on from the outside. Again, assuming this is the big house, it certainly looks like it to me. It's happening. I don't know about you, but I'm very, I hate to say excited to see this part of the story simply because so much revolves around the mistake in the printer, who gave the printer the job to print it, the fact that Brianna comes back in time for it, and the fact that Jamie and Claire were prepared to revolve their life around not being at the big house during that time of the year. So it's fantastic to see that it's happening, and I cannot wait to see it on screen. Now, I did have a question: when would the season be coming out in Portugal? I personally don't know that. That's something I can look up if anybody is curious later. But we have no clue from my end as to when it will come out. But generally, when I do find out new dates, I try to share them in videos as soon as I know them. So look out for information. I will check out for that for you, Isabel. All right, now to the next one. We've got Jamie, and that looks like Tom Christie to me in the background. I suppose it could be a bit of a fuzzy image and be someone else. But we've got Jamie and Tom Christie outside. I'm assuming at this point Claire is still in shackles somewhere or being headed out towards something. Jamie looks like he's either in deep concentration or watching something. So, again, I believe this may be when Claire is still separated from Jamie. Under which circumstance, I'm not sure, but at this point, I think it'd probably be a fair guess. It's early in the season, so Claire's off. All right, and of course, I had to get this one because everyone loves a bad omen. We know what I'm not sure if it would be a crow or a raven since it's in the United States now, but considering Bree's supposed to be having a baby later on, I'm wondering if there's a repeat of shooting the raven, or if someone just sees it and thinks it's a bad omen, or if the videographers putting the trailer together thought, hey, I'm going to throw this in and just mess with people. So that's always a possibility. And now we've got, I believe, Claire and Jamie riding through the forest, and they aren't seriously packed down. I'm not sure when this one would take place. Her hair, though, is fairly long back there. Again, assuming this is Jamie and Claire. So, again, possibly later on in the season. I'm possibly after the house burns down. It's very hard to tell from this. Although he does look a little bit hopeful here. Not necessarily downtrodden and as though he's just lost everything. And, or maybe they're just comforting each other and I'm reading the wrong things into these images. That's why I like to share them here and see what everybody here thinks will be happening. And hello to Josephina from Queensland. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to pop them in here. I'm trying to take a look over at the chat while I'm babbling at myself here. Again, I'm going to say this is probably later in the season, still probably off the image we just saw because her hair looks like it is a bit longer in the back. Now, this one I was pretty sure is Jamie and Ian riding their horses. Again, Jamie and the white horse. That definitely is Ian. It could not get a clear, larger image. Screenshotting it off of off of YouTube, but they do seem to be kind of in a hurry. So possibly just as things are getting heated, maybe he's riding off to save Claire because it was Ian who saved him there at the end of season 6. So this could be directly after that. Oh no, Isabel. Isabel is concerned that people are going to be dying, and I want to tell you that as far as I know in the books, um, none of our major characters get killed off. Ian is not going to be dying. Jamie, Claire, no one is immediately in peril. So don't freak out. All right, now these are the ones that I'm getting excited about. The revolution is coming, and as we can see, they are preparing for it. These are your American regiment, the militia, getting ready to being called. And I did have several of the quotes written down as well, which I will go over. But one of them during the trailer is that Washington is calling for soldiers, and I would believe from this image that Jamie and Fraser's Ridge are answering that call. All right, and Lynn is letting us know that on the W Network in June the 18th in Canada, Outlander, I'm assuming season 7 will be coming out. And she's joining us from Chilliwack, which I hope I said that right because it's super fun to say. And of course, if the American soldiers are getting ready, the Redcoats are as well. They're handing out weapons here at camp. I did enjoy a lot of the videography for the preparedness and for these upcoming images of battle. Now, here there wasn't a lot of clues here with Bree, other than she seemed to be looking at something in particular. I'm hoping that this is just an image right before one coming up here with her brother and Lord John. It looks like this is recognition or possibly just surprise. We'll have to wait and see on that specifically. And one of my favorites, young Ian, he is definitely riding into a fort, and you can see the military garb there. That is not redcoats, people. This is the American soldiers getting outfitted in their red, white, and blues. So it's again for me exciting to see that this is going to be coming up. I'm very interested to see how it's portrayed on screen, and I'm really enjoying what I've seen in the trailer so far. Oh, okay. And believe it or not, this is the battle where Claire gets shot and needs surgery. She doesn't have to perform it on herself. That comes from Joanne. Now, not that she doesn't have to perform it on herself the bit before. Again, another sign, and believe this is going to be Fort Ticonderoga, again, from the trailer, from what it's saying. And we've got our American flag there and the soldiers manning their positions. Now, young Ian, oh, I again adore him, and he's saying that he wants to fight for this country that he loves, which is really impressive that they have a young person who's basically lived through several different cultures is going to be helping to create a third, and he wants nothing more than to fight for what he sees this country can be, which is quite impressive. And if you're gonna have young Ian, let's talk about Rachel. I do like that they have included some images with the newer cast members. I wish they had more with her brother, which his name is escaping me right now, but young Mr. Hunter, Dr. Hunter. Um, it, it's nice to see that this is coming up, and I hope that the people who have read the books are as excited as I am to see some good luck in Ian's life and the new dynamic that the hunters bring to the ridge. Do, do, do. Oh, okay, let's see here. Linda Grace, and there are 9 books and excerpts from all the 10th are in Principal Life, but near deaths mean surgery, trauma, and trauma. Okay, I understand. Now, Isabel, it has been maintained. She's asking, could Jamie also be a time traveler? Um, Jamie has been established as not being a time traveler physically. He can't go through the stones. He does not hear the sound. When he goes near the stones, he doesn't feel any warmth with otter tooth stone. He is not able to physically transport. However, It has been long debated and discussed that he is able to maybe astral project or travel in his dreams. So while we do see that image of him standing outside, it's not necessarily physically him. How Frank saw him, I don't know. But again, this is something that we won't have the answer to right now, but we do hope that Diana and the creators of the television series will give us a decent answer on that in both the text and on screen. Ah, yes, the Quaker Doctor. Thank you very much, Joanna. I get to talking, and my brain is thinking on this and not on the book. So, all right, back to it. We've got Jamie, obviously, with the American soldiers. Go, Jamie. And he and I believe Claire are in encampment. Something's about to happen, and this is another one where Claire is. I don't know at this moment, but Claire does quote in the trailer that he's going to come back to her. He always does, or he needs to come back to her like he always does. So battle is a coming. I do enjoy. We've known for a while that a lot of the story, or at least part of the story, is going to be taking place on water, near water. There's another beach image coming up, and of course, we are not surprised to see that we have some images of boats on water. And this is what I think, what I thought Bree saw in the earlier picture was John and William. She's walking over and possibly meeting William for the first time. The secret of his parenthood, I don't believe, is something she is made aware of early on. So right now she's just meeting her dad's friend's son. I believe. Feel free to correct me on that. Okay, and the next image we have up is Lord John and Jamie, who in this part, John is basically saying, don't you want to fight on this side for the king for no other reason other than to be fighting with your son? And of course, we all know that Jamie promised he would never fight against his son. He doesn't want to look down the barrel of a gun towards his son, but he also is definitely going to be fighting for the Americas. So there's going to be a lot of tug of war for Jamie during this coming season, not only to try to stick to his promise of not being against his son in battle, but of sticking to the convictions of what a great country he's been told the United States will be, and his decision to fight on that side. Oh, okay. I like Joanne says something about Frank probably saw Jamie there as the ghost because he kind of needed to see the ghost, or he was there for him. But yeah, they're having a nice conversation here. I'm gonna let you go at it. Sorry about that. Now we're up to. I miscounted on my images, but we're around at image 30, and it's still Jamie and I believe Lord John. Jamie looks a little displeased at possibly the decision he has to make. As I said, he's got to make he's having a difficult time trying to stick to his guns and his promises. Another of a ship, which doesn't tell us a whole lot. And we've got Jamie and Claire, assumedly up on the ridge. Again, later in the season, it looks like, with the hair growth, or at least, after she's getting out of jail. And, oh, sorry, I'm having trouble getting rid of this one. There we go. The Redcoats lined up. Again, if we're going to have some pictures of the Americans getting their soldiers ready, we've got to have the very tactically inept for the terrain they're about to fight on Redcoats. I do remember in my history classes being told that one of the main reasons that the English had trouble here is because they were used to flat terrain that was cleared off. And that's few and far between, especially in early United States history, because there weren't enough people clearing off the trees yet. So the battling was quite different. The terrain was different. And their very well-formed lines firing properly kind of ended up being a bit of a detriment. Again, this is U.S. history taught in the United States by United States people. So I'm sure that other people will talk very different things, but that is what we were told, is that the tactics didn't quite work for the environment. And now we've got Jamie at the ready. It looks like battle has begun in this picture. And now we've got a few different images. I almost didn't take these apart and played them as a roll, but I'd have to slow them down so much. We've got our Redcoats armed and charging, it looks like. And Jamie yelling out to warn people it's a coming. And there's the American militia headed towards, I'm assuming, the Redcoats. Battle has really begun and is going crazy. There's another image up here coming soon that, quite frankly, I would like to make it as my new desktop. I will tell you which one here in a minute, but these battle scenes, I cannot wait to, again, to see it on screen, because I think, like the Battle of Culloden, a lot of time was taken to make sure that it looked realistic, it looked dangerous, and that's the one I want as my desktop. I mean, I wouldn't go up against him, so I hope that he just scares the bejesus out of these people, because the fierce in his eye, John Bell brings Ian to life in such great ways because he has this fantastic smile and humor. But oh boy, is he frightening there. So go, John, for your talent and going from I'm a happy go lucky kid to I will now kill you. And now we've got some good scenes here. The cannons shooting, and I believe the destruction of the cannons coming up next. Yeah, we've got soldiers being hit, stuff getting exploded. So definitely the battles are we're going to be able to see them. And of course, this is a good one with Claire picking up a sword during battle. Now, as with Culloden, we've got Jamie the soldier and Claire playing healer, not playing, but being the doctor, the surgeon there on site during battle. So it's not too much of a surprise to see that she would be come upon or possibly attacked unawares and have to defend herself with whatever is at hand, quite literally. And of course, we've got some Roger and Bree here. There wasn't a lot of Roger and Bree in the trailer. There's another image that we've previously seen with Roger. And I do love the line that they threw in the trailer where Roger says he's just so proud to be part of the family. Because that right there, that's a tear-jerking line right there. He earned his right to be part of the Fraser family just really, really well. It was difficult work. He didn't have to change who he was, but he had to find those skills that he had, put them to use, and show himself as a useful part of the group. And he did a fantastic job of that. So he is not only part of the family, but he's a vital part of the family. And Bree's just smiling. I don't know if she's had the baby yet. You can't quite tell. And here we have some nice moments between Claire and Jamie. And this is also where that gem was handed over in the previous trailer. At least that's the way it looked to me when they cut it. So it is Jamie giving Claire a gem so that she can travel back should he perish during the revolution, during battle. And that way she'll have a place to go back home and not be left here by herself. It's very possible by then Bree is already gone, because you notice he's not concerned about Bree having a waiting at home. And of course, we have the stones because, well, it's Outlander, and we have to have the circles, the stone circle. And a few more of we're having our maritals images because, well, it is all about the love and relationship of Claire and Jamie. Now we've got obviously one of the British ships, because you can see the flag on there, and crew en masse there. Well, I guess there was another one that I wasn't thinking of, but another one of Bree and Roger sitting on the beach. And I do recall getting these as behind the scenes images earlier in the last year. So this is another one where we knew there was going to be a lot of beaches, a lot of water. Now, the battle, of course, has gone well, or is not going well, but has started and is just going. I'm trying to think of a word and it's left me again. But we can see that the British flag is behind the American flag. You can't really see it in this image, but it is there behind people. So this is an all-out battle between the American soldiers and the British soldiers. And of course, again, back to what we've been waiting for, what we've been afraid of, and yet kind of want to see. That little orange glow behind there, I believe, means somebody's in the house. She looks a little bit upset that someone's in the house, or it seems to be shot like, who's in there? And I believe we find out who's in there later, but we've got Claire in her clinic, her surgery, and then she is churning. We are all concerned, and yes, it is because we have people in the house who shouldn't be there playing with things they absolutely should not be playing with. It is the big fire to come. Although they do not show any ether that I can see, you can tell this is somebody who is in manacles lighting a flame. So, of course, we all are fairly sure it's Wendigo. And how the ether gets caught up in it on screen, we can't really tell, but we're fairly sure that they'll find a way. Just being dropped on the floor some way. Who knows, what, the scuffle of some sort. But we definitely have a don't do that, followed by a dropped flame, and the reason why dropping the flame is a bad idea. So now this one I really enjoy because obviously you can see Ian and the Indians, but there are times where the Indians do assist the Americans, and I'm wondering if this is one of them or if they're just assisting Ian. Are we hunting? It'll be interesting to see which part of the storyline this image is from. And a couple of more of these. Flaming arrow. Yeah, I'd like to know with the flaming arrow. We're trying to avoid the fire, so I'm not sure why he's making fire, because fire is happening, I know, but who does Claire tell to get out of her house and then sets the house on fire? This is from Isabel. Yeah, Isabel, we're fairly sure that Wendigo, the gentleman that we see in prison with, or in jail next to Claire at the end of season 6, we're fairly sure that's the gentleman who is starting the fire. He's also the one who, when the Browns kidnapped her, spoke to her and asked her about Ringo and the Beatles. So he's from the future, as is Claire, and I'm not going to spoil everything, but circumstances, which may be different on screen, bring him there, and yeah, so we're fairly sure it's him. Why he burns the place down, again, a scuffle, problems. So, okay, now we've got that. And next is a battle, more battle images. The Revolution. There you go. Just scroll up. We are nearly done with our images here, guys. So we've got another battle image here. And this image, the top image on my list, even better than the ones where Ian's just going to kick everybody's rear end. This is what we know, again, is also coming. If you've watched any of my previous videos, there is some time traveling that will be taking place. Somebody's going back to the future. And I just watched that movie with my daughter a few days ago. Somebody's going back to the future, and yeah, where hard hats and electricity exist. Now, again, I don't know how much I should say, but it is one of our family members headed back, and somebody with, if I am, if I'm correct, this should be someone at work. I'm not going to give any more than that away for people who don't want completely spoiled, but it's a fascinating part of the story, and I'm really excited to kind of delve a little deeper and see what they do with it on screen. Now, again, I said we were nearing the end here. People going off to battle, saying goodbye. We're just having a loving moment between Claire and Jamie here. And then the final scene of the trailer is this one. I couldn't get quite as good of a capture on it. I couldn't capture it without getting fuzzy images. So the picture is a little off size than what you will see in the trailer. But clearly, that is Jamie. Looking a little worse for wear, possibly taking a little nap. Now, he's knocked out, unconscious, it looks like. And the only reason I'm not freaking out is because no, he's not dead. And things will work out eventually. Don't know if they'll work out ultimately in the entire series, but in this part of the story, he will eventually be all right. Now, that is everything that I have for, pardon me, this is everything that I had grabbed for every image, and I don't have a whole lot of extras to add, with the exception of a couple of quotes that may be worth mentioning just to make sure that everybody got a chance to hear them. Now, first one I've got is from Claire saying, "You'll come back to me. You always do." Again, that one's Claire. And then we've got Jamie at one point saying, "I'm not as brave as I was before you came." And then he does say he's not brave enough, and then I couldn't quite capture the words, "to you anymore." So somewhere in there, and those are from Jamie. So not brave enough, something or other, to you anymore. So we'll have to see what that is. I couldn't tell in context. I listened repeatedly. Another one, Claire and Jamie, "We will make it back here again someday, won't we?" And that's Claire asking. And of course, Jamie says, yeah, that they will. They will. And of course, I'm guessing that that is from when the house is burnt. And Claire is just wondering if they're ever going to get back there. Or very possibly, if I'm remembering something correctly, it's when they're leaving to become soldiers, to be part of the military for Washington. I'm going to have to disagree with Linda Grace, thinking that that might be Ian. But you never can tell because they do change some things on this show. Now another quote, but I couldn't tell who was saying it, is "There's a mess in the streets if you haven't noticed." And that was a woman's voice, or a female's voice, could have been Rachel, but I couldn't tell who it was from. Guessing, describing the joy of a war starting, basically. Washington desperately needs soldiers to up at Fort Ticonderoga. Again, that was a male voice though this time, but I didn't know whose. Ian's "I love this land. I want to fight for it." And then we have Claire. "I'd hope that Jamie could stay away from it, but maybe he's supposed to be. But maybe he's supposed to be there. Maybe he always was." The fact that she's realizing at some point Jamie must have already fought and helped to make the country because it exists. They've already figured out that if Claire hadn't gone back in time to help these people, to be there for for multiple people, but most assuredly uh, back in time to help assist in Galis's, well, not assist, but be part of Galis's past, there wouldn't be a Roger, or there may possibly not have been a Roger that had survived over the years. And if Roger hadn't gone back in time, there also wouldn't be a Roger because he saved his own family. So, yeah, maybe Jamie was always supposed to be a part of it. Now, we've got Lord John, and this is the quote I misquoted earlier and probably will misquote now, but "You will not fight for the crown if no other reason than to stand by your son." And again, that is something that Jamie's struggling with, I'm sure. Now, now he says, "Battle is coming. I made a promise to myself I would never face my son across the barrel of a gun." And again, he says, "Blood of my blood, blood of my bone." Those are two quotes from Jamie. Uh, and I can't read my handwriting, but I've got something between Claire and Jamie here about the gem. "Where did you get this?" I've been saving it. Shall I be killed? You can take it and go back. So again, always watching out for Claire and her future. It's no surprise to see that Jamie is ready to sacrifice himself for the country, but he's also prepared to make sure that that Claire is able to get home. And I just realized I am stuck on this poor picture for you guys. You're just suffering having to look at Jamie. I don't want you to have to go through that. All right, and one more quote here. Oh yeah, Claire saying to tell them to get the hell out of her house. Not really necessary to quote. Of course she wants them to get the hell out of her house. Now I would put my camera back on, but the way I have this set up, I put every single one of these images between my camera and the pictures. So if you would like, we can have a little discussion time here. I do what I can here. Yeah, it's not brave enough to be or live without you anymore. Thank you, Linda Grace. I was having trouble figuring out what the heck he was saying. That's right. Very good. Jamie, you guys are all just way smarter than I am. Maybe you just have better ears. I am old. Now, is there anything I missed? I'm not positive. I'm sure there's a few things I missed. I did like, again, the inclusion of so many of the Revolutionary War images and the battlefield images. You can kind of see that they are definitely putting in the effort as they did with Culloden. The accuracy of the uniforms and of the costuming, again, is, it seems to me, very on point. I did notice, I believe most people noticed in the new promo photos that the costuming has been changed up. I don't know if that's going to be how everybody looks throughout the show, though. It did look like their outfits had been upgraded or changed a bit for the new season throughout the trailer. The outfit I really enjoyed, though, that they put on for Claire in the new promo photos, the fitted top, and it looked as though she was doing well at the very least, even though her hair was short, so we know this is fairly close to the beginning of the season. She looked well, and that's really all I can say about that. Now, I don't know if anybody else had anything else they wanted specifically to discuss about the new season and what's coming up. I do know that that I just turned on my thumbnail. I do know that I won't be going to that convention early in June. Even if they invited me at this point, I just don't have the funds, the extra time to do it. And with school getting out soon, it's very possible that I'm going to be back down to 2 videos a week. Although at this point, getting up to 2 videos a week would be a bit of an accomplishment. My shoulder is still giving me trouble. If you saw my post yesterday, you know that I accidentally reversed some of the healing. So that's why we are doing this today, and this bit of a flighty discussion while I'm talking to myself, and hopefully you get a little something out of it. Now, I do want to thank all of my Katie's Corner members who have continued to stay with me and offered to join me on later live streams, though this one was very short notice. So I do appreciate you taking the time to come and sit and listen. And I do hope that in the comments below, once this is closed down, there is a broader discussion brought up in the community so that we can delve in a little bit deeper and maybe solve some of the clues and mysteries as to what's coming up next. I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this and would like to listen to me talk to myself more, let me know in the comments after this video has been posted. The live stream is up and you can comment there as well. And if you have not already, please don't forget to like below, subscribe to the channel so that I can keep making content and think somebody is watching. And just thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a great week coming up and not too much longer to wait until we get that first episode, less than a month. So I will see you there. There will be a poll coming up to find out what you would like me to do during the season. Would you like me to review? Would you like me to just do more catch ups with what's going on off screen? So think about that. There'll be a poll coming up soon. And I thank you all again for joining me.